It's 3 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down beside you because you promised yourself you wouldn't check it. Your mind is doing that thing again, replaying a conversation from 6 years ago for no reason at all. You feel broken. But the real answer is far stranger than broken. You are not malfunctioning. You are remembering. For most of human history, this moment belonged to everyone, not as a disorder, as a doorway. Before electric light existed, night did not mean unconsciousness. It meant something else entirely. Historian A. Roger Ekirch spent over a decade digging through diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe, and he found something that changed how scientists think about sleep forever. People didn't sleep in one solid block. They slept in two. The first sleep began shortly after dusk. Then, somewhere around midnight, people woke up. Not from insomnia, not from stress. This was expected, ordinary. People called it the watch. They stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours doing quiet things, praying, talking with a partner, tending a fire, thinking. Then they drifted into a second sleep that carried them to dawn. Ekirch found references to this pattern in hundreds of documents. It wasn't hidden, it wasn't shameful, it was just how nights worked. Then something happened. Can you guess what? Light. Artificial light spread through cities in the 1800s. Gas lamps, then electric bulbs, pushed bedtime later and later. Factories needed workers on rigid schedules. Sleep got compressed into a single block to fit the demands of industry, not biology. Within a few generations, the memory of 2 sleeps disappeared almost entirely. People forgot it ever existed. And when their bodies still tried to do it, tried to wake at 3 a.m. the way humans had for tens of thousands of years, they called it a disorder. That's the strange part. Your 3 a.m. wakefulness might not be a glitch in a modern machine. It might be the oldest, most reliable clock you own, still quietly running underneath everything. But this goes back much further than candlelit Europe. Long before writing, long before agriculture, your ancestors lived in landscapes where sleeping through an entire night unguarded was dangerous. Anthropologist Carol Worthman studied sleep patterns among modern hunter-gatherer groups, including the Hadza of Tanzania, whose lifestyle closely mirrors how humans lived for most of our species' existence. What she found was startling. At any given moment during the night, someone in the group was awake. Not because of insomnia, because sleep, for early humans, was never meant to be a solo act. Worthman's research showed something called polyphasic vigilance. Groups naturally staggered their wakefulness. While most slept, a few stayed alert, watching for predators, listening to the dark. Then those people would sleep while others took over. It wasn't planned in any formal sense. It emerged naturally, almost like a rotating shift built into the group's collective nervous system. Think about that for a second. Your ancestors didn't fight sleep alone in a dark room. They shared it. Watching each other sleep and being watched was part of what allowed sleep to happen at all. Now think about your bedroom. Dark, sealed, alone or with one other person. No fire crackling nearby. No low murmur of a dozen familiar voices a few feet away. Silence that isn't safety, but absence. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker, who has spent decades studying sleep at the University of California, Berkeley, has pointed out that human sleep architecture evolved under conditions radically different from the ones most people experience today. Our brains still run ancient software. Light-sealed rooms, precise 8-hour blocks, and total isolation are new inventions. Your brain doesn't know that. It's still listening for the fire. It's still listening for the group. This might explain something else. Have you ever noticed that hotel rooms make sleep harder? Scientists have a name for it: first night effect. One half of your brain stays more alert than the other in unfamiliar environments, essentially standing watch while the rest of you sleeps. It's the same mechanism your ancestors relied on around a fire circle, except now it fires off in a Marriott, confused about what it's supposed to be guarding. Your brain is not broken when it does this. It's doing exactly what it was built to do. It just doesn't have the right information about where it is. So what actually happened during that ancient midnight watch? What did people do with those quiet, wakeful hours between first sleep and second sleep?
Ekirch's research paints a surprisingly intimate picture. Couples talked, not logistics, not chores, deeper things. Historical records suggest this hour was considered ideal for conception, for confession, for working through the kind of thoughts too heavy for daylight. Physicians of the era even wrote that dreams from the first sleep were best interpreted during this waking window, while they were still fresh in the mind. There's something almost tender about that. An entire culture built a quiet hour into the middle of the night on purpose for reflection. No screens, no scrolling, just the fire, a familiar voice, and whatever thought had been circling all day, finally given room to land. Compare that to what you probably do at 3 a.m. now. Reach for a phone, flood the room with blue light, scroll something designed to hijack the exact reward circuits. Your brain evolved for finding food and mates on the savannah, not for infinite video feeds. Neuroscientist Anna Lemke, who studies the psychology of digital reward systems, has explained how this kind of light and stimulation at night doesn't just fail to satisfy the ancient need behind your waking. It actively suppresses melatonin and convinces your nervous system that the danger it sensed is still out there, still unresolved, still worth staying alert for. That 3 a.m. restlessness was never a problem your ancestors needed to solve by fighting for unconsciousness. It was a state to move through gently with warmth and company and quiet thought until sleep called them back on its own. You inherited the biology. You didn't inherit the culture that knew what to do with it. This is the modern mirror. The same wiring that once kept your ancestors alive around a fire, alert to danger, connected to their group, tuned to the rhythms of a much slower world, is still active in you tonight. It doesn't know that the danger has changed shape. It doesn't know that the group isn't sleeping 10 feet away anymore. It's still asking the same question it asked 100,000 years ago in the dark. Is everyone safe? Are we still together? Is it my turn to watch? You can't rebuild a hunter-gatherer camp in your bedroom, but understanding this changes something. The next time you wake at 3 a.m., heart a little too aware, mind circling a thought it wouldn't touch in daylight, you don't have to treat it as failure. You can treat it as your oldest self, checking in the way it has for longer than memory records. Not asking you to fix anything, just asking you to notice. Maybe that's the real answer to why you can't sleep. It was never about broken biology. It's 3 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling, but maybe, for the first time, you understand exactly why.